Amandla awethu matla ya rona matimba aina all power, long live Kosatu, long live, long live Kosatu, long live, long live the alliance, long live, long live the alliance, long live. Thank you, comrades, thank you very much.
Abazange bambone, wabazange bambone, abazange bambone, Zuma lo, Mandla.
Thank you. Thank you, comrades. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, comrades. Sizohlabelela, sike sikhulume kuqala. Aribuwe pele. Litlabena hape. Comrades, President of Kosatu, Comrade Dlamini, members of the Kosatu Central Executive Committee, General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, Comrade Zimande, President of SANCO, Comrade Mtagana, leadership and representatives of the Tripartite Alliance and SANCO, chairperson of the ANC in the province of Gauteng, Comrade Mashatile, the leadership at all levels of the alliance present here today, abasebenzi bonke abakhona namhlanje la. I bring revolutionary greetings from the National Executive Committee of the ANC on this important day of celebrating workers' rights and the strides we have made in transforming the workplace. We meet here today to celebrate the 22nd May Day in a free South Africa. This day is celebrated by all workers in the world. It has been celebrated for a number of centuries. The workers who are the victims of the system, who have been exploited and suppressed for many, many years, decided many years ago to organize themselves, because it was clear that when workers were not organized, they were victims of the system. Some overexploited, others due to conditions of work, dying whilst at work. And yet, they were underpaid and many hours of work. In 1884, 86, the workers in the United States decided to take action against their exploitation. And they took one issue that is still an issue today, the issue of working hours. That the hours should be reduced to every worker in the world. And decided to organize a big protest to make that message known, that the workers were now organized and they were ready to take up action against their exploitation. This point is very important for the working people to know, because whether we like it or not, the exploitation of workers continues. It may take different forms, and it's still going to continue as long as the wrong system is still in place. And therefore, the organization of workers in big numbers is an essential thing that the workers should be conscious of. Because if you are not conscious of it, you will be exploited from generation to generation. There was something important in that protest, because at the end, there was a clash with the police, resulting to some death. And the police arrested the leaders of the unions and charged them and tried them. And indeed, sentenced a few of them to death. Among them, Passing and Schilling. It was clear that the capitalist system was very strong. These workers, leaders, who were fighting for the right of workers globally, were victimized for that. As they were going to the gallows, they said something important, that this voice that was not heard at that time of the working class, that when time or the passage of time experiences the struggles of the workers, these voices of the workers that were being silent, not to raise the conditions of workers, will be heard in future loud and clear over the hills and mountains and continents of the world. And those words were correct, because with the passage of time, the workers have been organized into powerful unions. They said this because they knew that the system of exploitation of the working class could not last forever without the consciousness of the workers rising to organize themselves. So on this day is a day we remember the suffering of the working people in the world. But we also remember the areas where the voices of the workers that were suffocated many centuries ago are now heard loudly and clearly. And history has seen the workers being in charge in some areas. But the very fact that the system introduced by the workers was pushed back by the capitalist system tells you that the struggle continues. You cannot say it is over. And that is why today the workers over the world come together to celebrate this day, but not just to celebrate, but to take new resolutions to develop and advance the struggle of the working people. With the development of the wrong system, the suppression and oppression and silencing of the working people takes different forms. At times, it is very harsh. At times, it is camouflaged by certain things. It is in this context that we here today in this country, South Africa, we celebrate 20 years of the freedom of our people. And therefore the celebration of May 1st by the working class, perhaps in a very challenging situation that we need to understand as workers. We are in a challenging situation in South Africa. And it is important for us to know this, because if we don't know it, we are still going to remain under the bondage for many years to come. This country, South Africa, was lucky to have the leaders who had a foresight and who understood our conditions very well and reacted appropriately by creating the organization of the workers with a different objective and clarity. That the workers must fight for their rights at the factory floor, but also they must fight their political right where they stay. And therefore you could not separate these two. And this is what our leaders did. And this is what led to the formation of a different type of a union. A union that is conscious of the plight of its members and therefore understood the struggle differently from just ordinary unions. Because for the workers to be able to fight for their rights, they need to be organized in the first instance, but also they need to be clear about their tasks. It is in this context that we celebrate this day today. What has happened today? And if we don't see what has happened, then we are in for a big shock. As the workers, the struggle of the workers, as understood globally, is that the workers must break the chains of every worker. Question is it easy? Do the workers understand their strength, the power of their strengths, amandla? Because if they don't understand, then it is difficult to wage the struggle that could take us forward. I want to come to this point because I want to talk a little bit about what is happening in South Africa today. I'm going to come back to it because it is important. Because if we don't understand, like many other revolutions that were taken over by opportunists, this can happen in this country. At times, by the very people you thought they were with you, and yet they were not with you. You need to appreciate this, because some of the voices that are very loud today are people who are with you here. Who have begun to give a different interpretation to our revolution. So today, comrades, we join all progressive forces in the world in the continued fight for a living wage, decent work, and a better South Africa in our case, as those who were led by passing and shilling deed in the United States, in Chicago. Comrades, you have rightfully themed this year's May Day as celebrating 30 years, defending collective bargaining, workers' jobs, and our hard-won workers' right. We indeed have laws in place that practice the workers, that protect the workers in our country. And these laws have been brought by our democratic government, the African National Congress government. We have strong labor laws which protect the employees from exploitation to the extent that those who do do not agree with us and decry them. They decry these laws to be very restrictive. They even talk about very stiff labor laws which do not allow those who employ to do what they want with the workers. Workers' rights are enshrined in the Constitution of our Republic. These rights include, among many, the right to fair labor practice, the right to form and join trade unions, strike and picket. Our Constitution says we must do so as workers. The right to collective bargaining, among others. Would these laws be there without the ANC government? No. And without the African National Congress in power, this country will be in big trouble. Our Constitution also contains other rights that are important to workers. For instance, the right to water, housing, and other socio-economic rights. The right to access information, accountability of public enterprises, and procurement policy of social objectives. Comrades, the achievements we celebrate today regarding the workers, the workplace, we do so because of the mutually beneficial relationship in the alliance. Our leaders who were wise, who had wisdom, felt the workers organizing themselves alone was not enough in the South African setting. It was important that the vanguard party of the workers must be organized and work with the workers, including shaping the thinking of the workers, but also work with the national movement, the African National Congress, so that each of these will protect the other in one form or the other. We need one another more than we think we know. The very point I've just made, that without the ANC government, which is progressive, derived its progressiveness from working with the workers and the South African Communist Party, would not have had these laws. This is a benefit which is there as evidence for us of the success and the need of the alliance partners. If the workers were on their own, they would not have made the laws. No one in parliament would have piloted these laws. Because of the workers who are in the ANC, of the party as well, we were able to fight for these laws in parliament and pass them, as well as entrench the rights of workers in the Constitution. That is a benefit, a real benefit, not a theoretical benefit. The real benefit of the alliance partnership. There is no other political, whether any party or any other federation outside of COSATU that worked for these laws. The ANC is the only political organization in the country that can produce policies and legal environment that addresses the plight of the workers. No other political party. The question of our future, of the conditions in our country, is not something to play about. It's not something to make sound bites in the TVs and radios. It's a serious matter for us. Simply put, for the plight of the workers to be addressed, the ANC needs to be in government, it needs to be in power at all material times. The ANC will never turn against workers' interests. Never. All programs of the ANC are designed to make the country a better place for the poor and the working class. And it is the working class that says this openly, that we are fighting and defending and looking after the interests of the poor and the working class. Comrades, since its inception, COSATU has subscribed to this view of being a revolutionary trade union movement. This approach sought to relate the worker struggles with the broader national struggle. In other words, this federation articulates its interests that protect the workers not only at the factory floor, but also where they stay, at the national political disadvantage that has been given to them. And that's the reason why it should not be debated whether COSATU members vote for ANC or not. But that's the political side of COSATU. Because it is only when COSATU and the party vote for the ANC that the ANC can stay and we can push for a better South Africa, for a prosperous South Africa. As a successor to SACTU and committed to integrating the struggles of the workers to the broader national struggle, COSATU became an integral component of the ANC-led alliance, consciously, not by mistake, consciously. The understanding of oppression was therefore very deep in South Africa and cemented the alliance indeed. So anybody who claims to be representing the interests of the workers in no way can undermine the unity of the workers, can divide the workers in the name of caring for the workers. It can't be. It can't be. The unity in action of the alliance during the struggle would be demonstrated in practical action that would be undertaken by workers through withdrawing their labor power in support of the National Liberation Movement. That's how progressive and revolutionary workers contributed to the struggle. If there was a protest, the workers participated by withdrawing their labor power to make the regime and those who collaborated with them feel the pinch. There are clear examples, leaving aside many such actions. But in 1961, when President Mandela called for 3 days stay at home, it did not just mean people who are walking around and not working must just stay home. He meant the workers. They must stay at home for 3 days, not go to work. So the workers must withdraw their power. And they participated. It's not as if they were just passengers in the struggle. They were part of the struggle. And they should be part of the struggle today as we build South Africa, as we move forward to prosperity. The ANC relationship with COSATU is a long-standing relationship, to the extent that when it became clear that the two could not work in isolation from each other, Inkosi Albert Luthuli said at the SABC conference in 1959, and this was his famous coining of this relationship, when he said, SABC is a spear. In other words, the federation is a spear, and the ANC is a shield. In other words, this great leader combined these two into something as instruments in the hands of one person: the shield and the spear. He added that no worker is a good member of Congress unless he is also a trade unionist. In other words, he gave instructions to members of the ANC who were working in factories that if you are a worker, you are in the ANC, you must also be part of the union. But he also said, no trade unionist is a good trade unionist unless he is also a member of the Congress. This politically, scientifically explains the alliance in a more glaring terms. That in order to grow and cement the relationship, we should be together. Not just be together in a generalized alliance. We should carry two memberships. If you belong to the ANC, you are a worker, belong to the union. If there is no union, form it. If you are a unionist, join the ANC. Organize the ANC where you are is your duty. Because that will add the strength in the voice of the majority, in the voice of the poor. Comrades, this year marks the year of the local government elections. It is during this year that we will see communities in our country renew their mandates to the local leaders. Now, if you take what Chief Luthuli said, this cannot be the business of the ANC only. It's equally the business of the Federation COSATU. There's no one who's inviting the other to come and help. Is our duty, is our mandate. We have declared this year, the theme of this year as together advancing people's power in every community. Local government is in your hands. This is what the leadership has said to all of us. It is our duty to ensure that at the local government level, we bring the force and impact it needs for us to be able to govern at that level. But that's where the delivery takes place. It cannot be other people who don't understand where South Africa is going. It is us, the ANC, the SACP, COSATU, and SANCO. A vote for the ANC on 3 August is a vote for the delivery of quality services. It is a vote for development of local communities and integration of communities in urban and rural areas. It is a vote for the expansion of water, supply and electricity, roads, improved health care, and education for the poor and the working class. It is a vote for working together to boost inclusive growth so that our people can get jobs. Don't listen to people who dream whilst awake in this country. Because there are so many who dream whilst awake. We therefore call on all workers to unite and rally behind the ANC in these elections. The unity of workers is paramount for the victory of the ANC in these elections. So from us, the ANC, we do not take the existence and unity of COSATU for granted. We know it is important. We know we are what we are because of COSATU and the party and SANCO. We have listened to the complaints of our people about the performance of some councillors. We are putting measures to improve this. And councillors will be will be accessible to the community. Don't want councillors that are not accessible to the communities. We want councillors that must know they've been appointed, they've been elected, they've got to report to the community on a regular basis. We have taken a decision. We believe that our councillors must sign performance agreements to commit themselves. They must also report regularly to communities on their work we are going to give time frames, how often they report, so that people don't see the councillor for the first time when we do door to door. They must see them, know them, raise issues with them. This will give power to the people in holding their representatives accountable and making local government work better. We must control it, we the people. We are the ones who must control our councils. We have also heard complaints of workers about outsourcing. That is why the ANC will attend to this matter seriously. Because it has become very clear that outsourcing actually reduces the possibility of employment in a proper way. So we are going to look into this very seriously. COSATU should use this month sorry about that. Our expectation is that municipalities should employ workers to perform all work that must be done. It must not outsource. It must employ. If there is a need for outsourcing, this must be carefully controlled. Only if it is a technical thing that other people cannot do. That's how the ANC is taking the matter seriously. Because as we talk about the lack of employment, we believe now that outsourcing adds to that problem. Comrades, today marks the beginning of Africa Month. During the month of May, we celebrate the founding of the Organization of African Unity. COSATU should use this month to promote the unity of workers and also to promote our African identity. Let us use African Month to promote African advancement, sustainable economic development, as well as peace and security in our beloved continent. We should also use African Month to promote peaceful coexistence among South Africans and nationals from other countries, especially our brothers and sisters from the African continent. We, the workers, understand this better than many other people. There is a political environment in our country that is prevailing right now. The problem of violence in the protests. Comrades, let me reiterate our concern about some unacceptable identities, some of unacceptable incidents of violence during protests. We should isolate people who destroy infrastructure and property during protests. We have heard shocking incidents of people who even burned factories in the KwaZulu-Natal during a period when We say we need more jobs to be created, but we ban the factory. We reduce more chances to have more jobs. Let us unite as South Africans against such despicable behavior. Grievances should be expressed peacefully. We have a right to protest, but our protest must be supported by everybody. It is only when we protest properly that the support of our people will be with us. We have also noted within the political environment the existence of some desperate elements who seem hell-bent to promote anarchy and chaos in our beautiful country. The people of our country must isolate political parties that advocate the use of violence in a free, peaceful, and democratic South Africa. We worked very hard to create peace and stability in our country. Lives were lost in the struggle for freedom, peace, and democracy. We must not allow opportunists to take us back to the period of anarchy and destruction. We must also isolate and shun parties that promote disunity and divisions within our country. Let us isolate and shun parties that promote thuggery and chaos. South Africans want to live in peace and harmony. Anarchists and those who support them have no place in a democratic South Africa. South Africa is a much better place to live in now than it was before 1994. Let us build on the achievements and work together to deal with challenges that remain. As the ANC, supported by the alliance partners, we have a duty to ensure that the fruits of freedom reach all our people. Together, let us take the country forward and work for prosperity that will be enjoyed by all our people. Let us work together to ensure that the overwhelming victory of the ANC is achieved in August 3rd. It is absolutely important. I think, comrades, our understanding of the vote of each and every one of us must be clearer. We are not just voting for the sake of it. Vote constitutes the power. The power. If it is said this organization is in power, it is put there by vote, and the vote therefore constitutes the power. If you don't vote or encourage people to go and vote, you are in fact interfering with the power of government. A vote is a power. Very important to understand that. That is why we must do everything we can to deploy ourselves all over the country to ensure that all citizens are out to vote. Well, that's where the power lies for us to change the conditions in this country. We need to have and this is important, we need to maintain the level of 2/3, because it means if you have got 2/3, you have the power to change the country. If you have what they call small margin, your power is very little. You can't even do anything. And therefore, voting for the ANC to have bigger power to change what we can see as an obstacle is absolutely important. Democracy allows that in every 5 years, let us shake and evaluate power and see where power goes. We must not leave power. Because if we leave power, this country will be in the hands of chaotic people, anarchists, and we will be in trouble. And there will be no forward movement. And you must know that in every country and in the world, the majority is the working people. And it is the workers who must understand this. So it is important for us to do so. Now, we are going to start campaigning. We are going to deal with people who talk too much. And explain to the country who they are. What are they trying to do? We are going to deal with everything that has been said. Today, we are celebrating. A campaign is going to move throughout the country. Opportunists and reactionaries will be explained. Our country is faced with a difficulty today of counter-revolution, disguised in many guises, and we've got to expose them for the people to know who they are. Our task for now is to mobilize for our elections. And remember that a vote for the ANC is a vote for peace and unity in our country. And that the vote of the ANC is a vote for a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa. A vote for the ANC is a vote for a better life for all and an improved quality of life of our people. Our vote has a meaning. I don't know about other votes, but ours has a meaning. Let us therefore celebrate this day of the workers with this understanding. It is not just a celebration. We are celebrating, we are remembering where we come from, but we are saying this is the way to go. How to advance forward to a prosperous country. And it is only this alliance that can advance this country. Amandla awethu matla kerona, all power oh hinde lendlela esihambayo, oh hinde lendlela esihamba, oh hinde lendlela esihambayo, oh hinde lendlela esihamba. Washumandela kubalande bethu wothi sohlangana nge-free washu Mandela kubalandeli bakhe wothi sohlangana nge-freedom oh hinde lendlela esihambayo oh hinde lendlela esihambayo oh hinde lendlela esihambayo oh hinde lendlela esihambayo washu Mandela kubalandeli bakhe wothi sohlangana nge-freedom day washu Mandela kubalandeli bakhe wothi sohlangana nge-freedom day lendlela esihambayo lendlela esihambayo lendlela esihambayo lendlela esihambayo washu Mandela kubalandeli bakhe wothi sohlangana nge-freedom day washu Mandela kubalandeli bakhe wothi sohlangana nge-freedom day
Soy tu lucero,